No. You made me lose my train of thought. No. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, across all platforms. This is the Gaming Tangents Podcast. Woo! And if you don't know, my partner here is just dancing. She doesn't want to scream.
Gyrate.
There you go. How is everybody doing today? I am Maverick, and
I'm Sarah.
And we are here today to bring you yet another wonderful podcast. My normal co-host Menji is still in Japan, and he looks like he is having lots and lots of fun.
Lucky bastard. In Japan. Again. I said that in the last video too.
Yeah. What's funny is she doesn't even know him.
Yeah, nope. I think he's lucky. Yeah.
And so, a sneak preview of things to come. I picked up a couple of classic games and picked up a couple of games for me. Looking forward to seeing what he brought. And yeah, otherwise, what a crazy week this has been. So, we're not here to talk about news and everything like that, but we are here to talk about Unity. And what better way to bring Unity than with multiplayer games? But before we get into our main topic, Sarah, how have you been?
I've been good. I've been playing Little Big Planet 3. I'm kind of a little late to the bandwagon on that one.
Oh.
But I love it a lot. And it's fun. And I love popping bubbles. And there was this one planet where it was just a rocket and I guess some ice. And it had some really cool rock music. And me and Manny were laughing our heads off just playing it, popping those bubbles, doing Little Big Planet stuff. Other than that, besides, work, like everyone else, I haven't been doing that much. Rearranging this living room.
I had no idea you worked.
Oh, I know, right? It's just so foreign. Mm-hmm. Who works?
What's work? Yeah, well, I've got some bad news for you. Because I just found out that the Little Big Planet servers are going to be going down after the end of the year.
Well, apparently they went down in Japan. They took those servers down.
That was it.
Yeah,
Japan.
They did it, I think, either last month? They took them down, and I was sad because I didn't get to see them because apparently they had really, really cool stuff. And now I'm disappointed because I won't get to see it. And a lot of people were disappointed because there's a lot of cool, I guess, planets and stuff that you could visit, and they had a lot of cool decorated stuff and things to play, and I'm like, well, I'm just stuck here in America doing American things with my American server, so...
Well, at least there's that, but yeah, they're probably going to be shutting them down next year. I don't know. That was a rumor, I heard.
Yeah, it is a rumor. I hope they don't, only because I at least want to get the best out of my game, because I'm a little bit late. But at the same time, I can see why they would do it.
Yeah, I've only played the first one, and I didn't understand how to work it. Like, it's not like Mario Maker, which is just cut and paste and everything. This was just kind of a little more complex, and I didn't have the patience.
Your brain was just like, I can't, no patience, I just want to play. Like, I could understand if they shut the first and second server down. For the first game and the second game, maybe. But for the third game, I'm like, It's only been out, maybe a year?
Right. So, it's probably a testament to how, quote-unquote, well it sold.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that.
So that's the sad thing on that one. I, on the other hand, what have I been playing? I played something earlier this week, and I can't remember what. I know I played some King of Fighters 13 for once. Yeah, always King of Fighters. But what was I playing? Oh, Knights. You're looking at me like you don't know what that is. Okay, so Knights into Dreams was a very popular Saturn game where you play as this Harley Quinn who flies around and is collecting orbs, and they're in some kind of dream world.
Sweet.
Yeah, it's downloadable on PlayStation 3.
Well, guess what's gonna happen today?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe.
It was made by Sega. It's made by Sonic Team.
Mm-hmm.
It was one of their more popular franchises, which, for whatever reason, only had one sequel, but the characters have cameos all over the place.
Of course.
Yeah, but pretty fun. You start in the first game, there's no real dialogue or anything like that. It's just, you have two kids who are dreaming, and they both have their own levels. Like, they each have 3 levels. And you have to complete those first 3 levels on each character's story to get to the last level.
Oh, that's actually interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I actually want to play that. That sounds like it'd be a lot of fun.
It's really fun. The controls are a little awkward. Like, they made... this was before analog controllers were a thing. Mm-hmm. So they actually had to make a special analog controller.
Oh, God. It's like, this is a little bit old school. We're going to have to update.
Yeah, exactly. And so it works well with the PlayStation 3 controller and whatnot. But, so you play it, and you start off walking around as the kid, the child or whatnot, and then you meet Knights, which is the Harlequin character. And you become that character. And you go flying around and you collect the orbs and you go through all these like little loops and everything, and it's like 2.5D because everything is 3D, but the plane is like 2D.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So, but really fun game. The only reason I even watched it started playing it was because Did You Know Gaming did a video on it. I'm like, I haven't played this game in a long time, so
You're like, let's do it. Let's play it.
Yep, and I've been having a lot of fun with it, and then I remember that there was a sequel on the Wii, which I lost interest in it really fast because the characters talked. And the character who was kind of androgynous, they gave him a British woman's voice, and not just a regular British woman's voice. She sounds like one of those old ones that you hear, stereotypical anime dub kind of.
Oh, God. I couldn't even do a voice if I tried.
Actually, did you ever watch Sailor Moon?
Yeah.
Okay. So, Sailor Moon, there was Luna. You remember her voice? Mm-hmm. That's what she sounds like.
Damn.
Yeah.
Yep. That would get annoying fast. It's like, kill me now.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. But, the game itself is supposed to be... pretty good. Mm-hmm. I've just not played it because that was one game that I bought for my son, and he lives with his mom, and so he took the game with him, so I haven't been able to play it.
Yeah.
So, have to wait on that one.
We all wait for one game. There's
Right.
always one, Kingdom Hearts 3. I mean, what?
Right? So, the topic of last week's thing. No, and there has been no Kingdom Hearts 3 news, sadly.
Stop reminding my dreams and my failures in life about it.
So, I'm just going to point out, because we are on episode 22, and one thing we mentioned is that we're going to start pointing out some mistakes here. And as you could probably heard on the last episode...
22. Sorry.
I accidentally overlapped some audio.
So, it happens.
I apologize. I was going to go back and fix it, and I decided, you know what? Since it was my first time, rookie mistake, live with it, we'll just chalk it up to it being of legal age, 21st podcast, we were drinking, we really weren't, but,
I was 21, I remember my first beer.
Mm-hmm. Not much gaming news, really, that I can think of. I mean, well, no, let's take it back, okay? Not to bring... this crazy world into things, but there's been some tragedy this week and whatnot, while at the same time there was a release of Pokemon Go.
Yes, it unites everyone to go outside and wander the streets.
And get hit
I
by
live
a car.
in the ghetto. Like, I could get hurt. I'll be like, yeah, I can't wait to go out there and catch some Pokemon. And I'm just like going along my way. And then, since I live in the hood, it'll probably be like, hey, what you doing? I'll be like, catching some Pokemon. Oh, you catching some Pokemon? I'd be like, yeah, I'm just catching some Pokemon. What you got? I got nothing. And then I start running. See, that's why I can't play it here. I have to go probably downtown. But even then, I don't even know. But yeah, it came out and it's awesome. I love it.
Yes. So for those of you who don't know, Sarah and I do work in the same building, and apparently, well, not apparently, because I saw this firsthand. People in my office were all around looking for Pokemon.
Oh yeah, during their breaks, during their lunch, they were everywhere. They were like, and what's funny is most of them are on our side of the building. They're like, oh, all the Pokemon, like I heard this from the other side. They're like, all the Pokemon are on your side. And I was like, oh, really? And they're like, yeah, like we're just sitting over here crying because we can't, walk over to the other side. Just go over there and be like, got it.
Well, I downloaded it just to see what the hoopla is about because I'm not into Pokemon.
Get out. Get out now.
Okay.
Get out of this house.
All right. See you later.
Sorry. It's over.
Sorry, folks.
Game done. Can't, no longer.
But I did download it. And, yeah, I still don't get Pokemon. They gave me my 3 starter characters and whatnot. And then this morning, after I picked Squirtle, which was on a wall for whatever reason. Yeah, of all places, the Squirtle chooses to appear was on a wall. And I'm trying to figure out how to throw the Pokeball at it. Took me about 10 minutes to figure out how to throw it to him.
I just looked it up before because I didn't want to mess it up. Because what's funny about Pokemon Go is they kind of released it without really a guide how or a run tutorial how to do things. They're just like, oh, welcome to the world of Pokemon. What's your avatar, boy or girl? What team are you? Here's some Pokeballs. Good luck. I'm like, wait, what? How do I play this game? There has to be something. So I ended up going through a lot of tutorials on like Google, looking things up, and apparently there's, I don't know if this is true, but there's a rumor that you can get Pikachu in the beginning instead of catching those 3. I guess there's some hidden way to get Pikachu in the tutorial.
Yeah, and that's what I found out this morning, and that's all I really want is a Pikachu. I don't care about all the other
Restart
700 Pokemon. Yeah, exactly. So all I have is a Squirtle, and yeah, but one thing I did notice, and this goes along with today's theme, which is that I saw it bringing people together, which is kind of important. The timing was kind of...
It was right. It's kind of what we needed, given that the news has been a bunch of... Well, if you've been watching the news, if you're just a NEET or a closet in person, then you probably wouldn't know, but a lot of horrible things have been going on lately, and it just seems like this game came out at a perfect time because people are getting together. Like, literally, as I left work yesterday, I heard 2 of my coworkers like, oh, you want to hang out and go downtown and look for Pokemon? I was like, that is amazing. They're gonna go outside and find things together. Like, that hasn't happened since when?
Exactly. And, with the context of everything going on, you see people getting together. Doesn't matter. Background, ethnicity, race. Didn't matter. People were getting together for this, silly game.
Okay. It is silly, okay, but it's targeted towards my age group and younger, so...
Oh, yeah, well, no, because I know people my age who
really?
play this game.
Okay.
Yeah.
Lovers of Pokemon in general, but I know a lot of people, especially in my age group, like 24, 25 and under, obsessed. They're just like, God, do it.
Yeah, and I thought that was amazing, because it's like, and if anything, I have a lot of tremendous, like, I can't say tremendous respect, but I have an admiration for the game to be able to do that, because especially like right now, you wouldn't think that a video game that gets video games in general, which gets so much heat, for negative issues that go on around the world, is actually bringing people together and excuse me, and just going out and hanging out. And there's like, I was on my Facebook today, and there's like a thing, Pokemon Go Meet, downtown Indianapolis. It's like, wow. Mm-hmm. So it came out at a good time, because like, I think that it unites people, brings them together, which I just repeated myself by saying that, but it brings people together, gives people a chance to know each other and share a hobby that everybody likes.
Yep, and Pokemon's a big thing, so it's kind of hard to say that there's not a big group into it, because obviously there is, because all we heard literally at work was about Pokemon. My boss, my supervisor, literally that was all they were talking about. Like after maybe 5 minutes of work, of discussion of something about work, then they would turn into like Pokemon Go. And be like, yeah, that's obviously a big deal because people are really into this franchise, not only as a mobile game on the phone, but as, you know, just that nostalgia if you were a kid that played Pokemon, or if you were a kid that watched it or had a Game Boy like me, then you were just like all this nostalgia for Pokemon. You're just just raining out nostalgia, throwing up rainbows, whatever you were doing. And when I heard that it came out, I was like, I have to download it. I remember because I woke up and they're like, Pokemon Go came out. I was like, oh my god, like drool coming down my face, like eyes rolling back, looking on Google Play for this app, and I downloaded it. I was like, yes, life is complete now.
Yeah, I just downloaded it and it said server was down, so I'm like,
Exactly, right? And that was when everyone was hopping on it all at once because they just figured out when it came out. They're like, oh my god, I have to go see it. I have to download it. I have to play it. And then I think the one negativity, though, is that people's phones and data. If you don't have unlimited data, for one, and if you have a horrible battery or just a portable charger, if you don't have that, you're pretty much screwed. Like,
yeah,
phone bills are gonna rank up quick. I think that's probably one of the negative sides of Pokemon Go is I'm afraid for people that don't have unlimited data.
Oh, phone bills are gonna go up this month.
And people who don't have like extra chargers or those cases that charge your phone as an extra setup battery. Because then it's just like, okay, mobile data is basically one of the biggest charges on cell phone bills anyway. You're paying like, what, 100 something just for data? It's like, so I'm not looking forward to those things that happen. That's why I've been very careful about where I go. Because I don't have unlimited. I'll go to a Starbucks and be like, okay, there's internet access here. Or I'll go to a McDonald's, okay, there's internet access here. Like, I'll only use my data if I'm completely in the middle of nowhere with no internet access.
I was like, is there any internet access here? Let's see. Because that's what I did with mine. I waited until I got home because I figured part of it was data plus, like, you know, the carrier I have now isn't as great as the carrier I had before, so I'm just kind of like, I'll just wait till I get home. And I tried it and I got my Squirtle. Now, what happens after that? Do you just capture them and that's it? Or do you battle them or what?
I wonder what everyone's going to say and band together. They're going to be like, hey, what's your cell phone bill? Oh, dude, can't believe it. Like, $1,000. I know, right? Pokemon Go? Yeah, Pokemon Go. Like, that's what's going to happen.
That's what the battle's going to consist of, the phone bill? Because, yeah, you can't battle in that game, can you?
So far, I realize you can't really battle. Apparently, you can transfer to something, but I'm not sure. I haven't actually researched it that far into it. You basically capture Pokemon. The only way to level them up is to basically buy goods to level them up, or to give them things, and then there's also gyms that you can go to in battle, but you could only do it, like some of them, you have to be a level 5 to do this, or you have to be a level 6, which is not hard to level up because you don't really have to buy anything to level yourself up, but for your Pokemon it's a little bit different. So it's really kind of like, okay, it's a play, like you have to buy things in the game to take advantage later on, but if you're just, you know, playing it for the nostalgia aspect to just catch Pokemon and do all the other things, then I can see how it can benefit you without spending money. So, yeah, there's that.
Yeah, I heard that there's some crazy microtransactions on there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But, I mean, I don't know what they consist of.
Like, you know, I'm just gonna open it right now. This is what happens. Sarah has to open up Pokemon Go on her phone.
Yeah, well, it's probably better you do it, because if I do it, I'm just gonna be, like, trying to figure it all out.
Let's see, let it load here. I like how it's like gives you that loading screen. You walking across. Anyway, let's see. Like, okay, items. You're given. Well, I was given apparently 2 incense. I don't know how I got those, but I have 74 Pokeballs.
Wow.
A camera and an egg incubator apparently. And when you go to the shop on your game, like, it'll be like 400 coins or blah 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 for some Pokeballs or whatever. but I forgot actually how you... There we go. This is how you buy the coins if you run out of items. Yeah, it'll be like from 99 cents to like for 100 Pokecons, $4.99 for 550 Pokecons, and then like 1,200 for $9.99. It's just like crazy. But then when you look at the prices of like 100 Pokeballs, you're like, yeah, like maybe $4.99 for 550 Pokecoins can get me like 100 Pokeballs. That's great, but like I'll need to buy incense and eggs, and what about, you know, all this other crap in here that I need?
Yeah, I can see I can see a lot of people uniting over this game, but I can also see a lot of angry parents at the end of the month.
Oh yeah, and that's why
$99 in Pokemon?
It's like, come on. But that's when like you kind of unite with your parents, or at least you as a parent unite with your kid and be like, listen, I know you're gonna play Pokemon Go, or just don't let him download the app whatsoever. Like, there's two options there. As a parent, you can be like no or yes, but don't buy a single thing, and if you do, you're in trouble. Like,
well, and that's kind of
plus he'd have to get a card, your card, and stuff like that, so it'd be really hard.
I don't know, because sometimes you can just go ahead and it'll say like, do you want to charge your carrier?
Oh, yeah. Yep, I forgot about that.
So, and I don't know, like I have to look at that, because I have, of course, I mentioned all the time I have a kid, and I don't know if he's going to want to play this or not, but the last thing I need him to do is buy $99 worth of Pokecoins.
I know, right? Like, when I saw that, I was like, I've never been one to ever pay in a video game. Mm-hmm. Like, I just feel like if I do that, I'm just encouraging them to keep doing it.
Right.
Especially with mobile games. Like, that's just not... I rather just have the game. If I can purchase the game and not have to pay anything throughout the game, that's great. Right. If it's a free game, I'm not going to purchase anything within the game.
I did it once. I did it on Grand Theft Auto 5. Where you can get a card and you can get like $500,000. Mm-hmm. And the only reason I did it was because I got some credit through Sony over some legal thing or whatnot. Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay, this will work.
It's like, this will do.
And so I decided, what am I gonna do? And I was like, oh, I can buy a mansion or something. And so I buy a house in the hills, and it was a downgrade from the penthouse I bought downtown. Yeah.
It's like, oh.
Like, oh, this was a poor choice. They should have let me see this before I bought it.
Poor choices. Poor choices were made.
Exactly. But no, recently, with Minecraft story mode, they just came out. They're coming out with new chapters, and they're including some famous YouTubers in the game, which I thought was kind of weird. I thought it was cool, but kind of weird at the same time, because they're like, okay, there are these Minecraft YouTubers that got into the game. And my son was like ecstatic when he saw that.
He's like, famous YouTuber? Yeah, my nephew's probably all like bouncing off the walls over that too. He's probably like, yes!
Yeah, he was like, oh my god, that's Mr. Sparkle. I'm like, who's Mr. Sparkle? You know?
Like, when we hear them get
Captain
excited
Sparkle.
over these names and they say like, Captain Sparkles, I'm like, tell me this is a fictional person.
Exactly.
But I respect them for what they do, because they probably profit off that like crazy. Yeah. And they're probably doing something they love and profit off it, which I would love to do, but I'm probably not as talented or as famous to do it like them.
Well, as far as I know, all they do is play Minecraft on YouTube. But I mean, I don't follow them, so I don't know. I haven't.
There's gotta be more complicated things to it, like sponsors and stuff. But
right. But my son downloaded it this weekend, and then I was like, I didn't approve of him downloading this. And like, I had to go research, and it didn't get charged to my card, but somehow he was able to download it for free, even though there's a $9.99 charge on it. So, not that I'm complaining, but I got onto him because I thought he charged me money on that. And when I saw that there wasn't, I was like, okay, I'm going to unground you, but I'm also not getting you Undertale like you've been asking, because you did this.
I'd just be like, listen, don't ever download anything without asking me first. That's what...
Oh, no, I told him that, but that was his punishment. It was like, he couldn't get Undertale.
Yeah, that's what they did with my niece. She can't join certain accounts like YouTube until she's older, Facebook till she's much older.
Right.
And, certain things she can't download without asking permission first.
Right, and that's the thing. I thought I had a password lock on mine, but apparently he was able to do it, so I got to go back and look at what happened.
So does he have his own little device, or is it on your device, or?
Oh, it was on the PlayStation.
Oh, on the PlayStation
3.
Okay. I was gonna say, mostly for Aaliyah, she has an iPhone that doesn't actually have any cellular things to it yet. It's just an iPhone with no contract.
Right.
So she can download things on it and whatever, but she can't really call or text anybody. So it's still a little bit different, and it's crazy how they have cell phones and stuff. And I remember being younger, and I was lucky if I could get to the house phone in time when my friend called. So.
Well, yeah, my son was asking, I think we discussed this last week. He was asking for a cell phone, and I'm like, yeah, you're gonna get one of those flip phones first. I was like, why? And I was like, cause you're too young to have a cell phone, and you have your tablet anyway.
You're too young for this.
Exactly. So, I don't know. But, it's besides the point. I mean, in general, like I said, with going back to Pokemon Go, I said, I was really impressed with the way people just kind of came together, which is really needed right now.
Mm-hmm. More than ever.
Exactly, because, I mean, it's just going back to it, again, don't want to get into details, but, it's been a horrible week.
If you just hop on social media, you'll find out.
Yeah, if you look on social media, if you look at the week that this has been posted and everything, it's been a lot crazier than normal. So
I feel like these games, they should come out with more of these games, which this isn't the first game to do. I think there was another game beforehand that one of our supervisors was playing before this that kind of did the same thing but wasn't as popular as Pokemon. But now that this has come out, people will probably be more aware of this type of thing or this type of gameplay. And I hope they do kind of take advantage of this platform to bring more people together. Even there was workout apps like Zombie Run that brought people together because they're like, oh yeah, I ran this much and I collected all this so I could shoot zombies later.
Yeah, and I mean, a lot more apps like that would be not so much I can't say a massive multiplayer online. I'm not talking about those kind of games because unfortunately you unite people on there, and some people, because they have some anonymity, they like to be assholes.
They like to be trolls.
Exactly.
They'll be like, oh, you're when I was I forgot what it was. Was it Minecraft? Anyway, I played a online game and I got trolled for being a noob because I had no idea what I was doing.
Right.
It was something new and I just wanted to play a PC game. And because I didn't have any friends that played these games, I was all alone. I was like, guys, I don't know what I'm doing. And they'd be like, F noob, get out of get out of our group. I'm like, I am so sorry. I'm just trying to learn. I just want to play and have fun.
Right. Yeah, I hate that shit. That's why it's so hard for me to get into MMOs. I've tried, and I recently tried a couple of years ago with Call of Duty, and I just remembered why I hated that. And the one thing I like about Grand Theft Auto Online is that you can go on there, and since the point of the game is to be a criminal, I don't have to work with anybody. But again, that's besides the point. I mean, yeah, you're getting people together, but there's still that anonymity there.
They're still at home. They're still behind a screen.
Exactly.
At some point. They're not face to face with another person.
Exactly, and so at least with this game here, people are actually coming together, and it kind of reminded me of the old days.
When you'd have to invite your friends over to come play Mario Kart or Super Smash Brothers, or those were the days.
Yeah, and I mean, with that's among friends and everything like that, but then you got parties, and then that's how you also met people. It's like, oh, hey, I played Mario Party with this person, or I wasn't a big Mario Party fan, but came out around the same time as Pokemon, which I was kind of not into that phase.
You were like, I'm an adult.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm too cool for this.
Too cool puts Eric shades on, whisks hair out of his face.
But we even before that we had the arcade, and for the most part, I mean, you still had your jerks who came in and they tried to take over the game or tried to hog the game or whatnot. But then you got the games like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or The Simpsons, or the best example, X-Men Arcade, which has a 6-player cabinet, and you just had all those people working together to beat this guy. And I remember when I was a kid, I was like maybe 13 or so, and it was just me and this other girl playing Ninja Turtle, and this girl, she was cute. I remember her being cute, and I was 13 at the time. So of course, I was like, oh, okay, well, I'm gonna stick around and play as much as I can. I ran out of quarters, and I was about to leave, and then all of a sudden I see, boom, she put another quarter there for me to help her finish the game.
She's like, I need your help.
Yeah.
Accompany me on this mission to defeat evil.
And we finished the game. We beat Shredder and everything, and then I ended up, she walked away. She said, we had fun. I had fun. And she walked away. She forgot to put her name in the arcade cabinet, so I put my name on there, and my friends were like, oh, she gave you a quarter, man. Come on.
See, you don't have that much anymore. A lot of people are at home or not going. I mean, you do have arcades, but they're, especially here in Indiana, I haven't seen much. Like, there is one in the mall, but that's, like, small in comparison.
Well, and that's one thing, and we're going to go on about our local mall here for a moment, but that arcade is kind of garbage.
Exactly, and I'm like,
They don't maintain the games, and I see this in a lot of arcades. It's kind of just there to be there now.
Yeah, now it's just, oh, we like it because it's a token of society that's, here now, but we don't actually make a profit of it. Unlike, there's some other places in other cities where they have, like Japan, oh my god, their arcades are amazing.
So I've seen.
And then there's, like, I think it was Minnesota maybe that had a cool arcade. I'm not sure, but there's still those that exist out there that are quality arcades, but here it's just like,
Yeah, well, but then see, I brought this up about 2 podcasts ago. I went on a date, and we went to Tappers.
I heard about that. Everyone's talking about Tappers.
Yeah, and it's one hell of a place. Like, it's small, but they have all these classic arcade games there. Like I said, the most modern game there was the 6-player X-Men arcade cabinet. But they had Donkey Kong, they had Moonwalker, they had House of the Dead,
Yes.
they had Popeye. I mean, they had all of these old arcade games that, you don't see these anywhere. And when I went with my date, we had sat there and we talked, and then we went to play a couple of arcade games. It wasn't too busy, and I was like thinking at first, like, man, this place isn't as crowded as I thought it would be. And then, we decided to go for a walk, and when we came back, the place was packed.
Oh yeah, people are probably still like either at work on the weekend or they're just waiting till later.
Right, and it was pretty late in the evening when we actually went there. But when we came back, it was like, I don't think we're gonna be able to play any other games because there was just shoulder to shoulder everybody like playing a game and whatnot. And I was like, this is incredible. This is like amazing.
Like, my dream literally is to own an arcade bar cat cafe. Like, literally my dream. If I could make all those things work together, I'd be like, I run this. I have a small business.
Yeah, I see your cat's head kind of perked up when he said that.
Yeah, Witcher. Cat arcade. Yeah, you like that? Yeah, he doesn't look interested.
Yeah, no, I could see that happening, considering in the same area they are going to be opening a cat cafe.
I know, I got excited about that too. Because they have them in Japan, they have them all else in the world, it seems, and they have one, I think, in LA, but I think it might have shut down. I can't remember.
A cat arcade?
No, like a cat cafe.
Yeah, I mean, cat arcade. Oh yeah, cat arcade.
A bar arcade cat cafe.
There we go.
Literally a big sentence, but
yeah, we can like make an acronym for it or something,
like. My brain can't think right now. I was sitting there like, wait.
Yeah, there'd be too much dead air to explain it.
Dead air. But yeah, these games, and that's what I miss, is unity. Like, my brother, he would go to arcades, and he won a Tekken tournament. Like, people would get together for these tournaments, just like Pokemon Go is getting people together just to search for Pokemon. I think they need to create these things, or at least release, especially in Indiana. Indiana is boring as hell. If you're ever here, it's just like, nothing happens here. And if it is, someone either got shot or there's something in the corn.
or some politician made some stupid decision because, yeah, that's what they do.
They need more things that bring, people together, whether it's games. And there are activities here, I'm not going to lie, but they're not advertised very much. And sadly, for people of my age, or even like 35 older that really love video games, they would profit from these. They would band together and just nerd out. Our local gaming nerds would just come together and be like, let's play games, let's have fun, instead of so much hatred going on in the world.
Right, and that's the thing. I think video games still unfortunately have that reputation. Video games, unfortunately, is still the whipping boy for all things going wrong.
Even though they increase so much of your brain, they increase multitasking, depth perception, so many other lists. I could list a whole name, but most of them are like, oh, they're just, bad for kids. I could see that, because if you're just letting your kids sit there for like 2 days in a row playing a game, or even like more than, I'd say, 8 hours, yeah, I could see how that could be bad for them. But like, give them, a limit, like, hey, 2 hours of gameplay, then go outside or do your homework or do something else to get your mind off of it. Because they do need that, because they're still young.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, we have to, my parents, when I was younger, they immigrated here. So I don't think they understood the concept of gaming and everything like that. So I was able to play my games anytime I wanted, and it kind of neglected my homework a lot and whatnot. So with my son, I'm like, okay, this isn't a punishment, but you're not allowed to play games during the weekday, during the school year. During the summer, I don't have so much of a problem with it, but it's like, you can play it on weekends, you're just not allowed to play it. Because I kind of wanted that instilled in his brain from a very young age.
Yeah.
And so far, I mean, he's about to go into 4th grade. We've implemented this since the 1st grade. And it, so far, I get no complaints from him when he can't do it,
Yeah.
Like, the worst I get from this, aww.
I don't know. For me, when I was a kid, I have to say my childhood was great. There was aspects of my younger childhood, which I did in a video on YouTube about being born, drug addicted. Yeah, that's a video. But after that, like, I had a really good childhood because I did have video games. I did have a TV in my room. I was spoiled, but I was also taught responsibility because I lived on a farm. So it was more like, if you do all your chores, if you do all the things that you need to, then you can play. The rest of the day is yours.
Right.
And that was like, I'd go to school, I would do my chores, and then I'd do what I want. Like, I'd do my homework, and then I'd be like, oh, I can play games. Like, I had a GameCube. I had a Nintendo 64. That was my first console. And then the really old square one that I forgot the name of just now.
The GameCube? Which you just talked about?
No, not the GameCube. The older one, before Nintendo 64.
Super Nintendo?
Yes, Super Nintendo. And I played that a lot more than any of the others.
Yeah, I had a Super Nintendo when I was a kid, and we'd. I remember one instance, because I had friends, but there are only a few that I still talk to this day. But I remember in one case, we were at this party, and it was about way down the street from where I live, but I mean, it was walking distance. It probably took about 15 minutes to get from there to my house. And my friend who had been throwing this party, she had invited these guys who weren't very fond of the quote unquote tough guys in my class, because we were all in the same class, and so they decided to abandon the party, which now that I think about it, it was kind of really rude to do.
Yeah, I mean, you're invited, at least,
Yeah.
participate, or don't go at all.
Right, and I didn't really say anything. They just asked me, "Hey, don't you live up in the neighborhood? Can we come to your place?" I'm like, "Yeah, let me just ask my mom." And so I asked her. She's like, "Yeah, that's fine," and we came up there. And I had just gotten Street Fighter 2, which at the time was a very big deal. Like, how everyone went crazy over Pokemon Go.
Yeah.
Everybody went crazy when Street Fighter 2 was finally released for the home consoles. And we had it, and we were all just playing, taking turns and whatnot. And I was still learning the game, so I kept getting my ass kicked and whatnot.
Oh, yeah.
But at least for that one night, these guys who majority I didn't really get along with, that, you know...
You found a common ground.
Exactly. So, which was kind of weird because we got into fights over Street Fighter before. But at that time, you know, it was just like, okay, well, we're all doing this. We're all hanging around. We're all enjoying the same game.
I think it's the aspect that you're more concentrated when you're playing games on having fun. Like, unless you're just a despiteful person that if you're a loser, you suck at losing and you complain and bash other people for it. But if you're just in it to have fun, like most people are today, especially with Pokemon Go, it becomes a unifying thing. We all find common ground despite religion, ethnicity, differences, opinions, media. Like, we all put that aside just for that one peaceful moment. And it's really, really exciting to see people just come together over one thing. Even if it's just something so simple as Pokemon Go or Street Fighter or what was I playing with someone else? Mortal Kombat.
Excuse me. Most violent game known to man.
Oh God, it's so graphic. Like, when I saw it, I was like, it's beautifully wrong. Like, it's so intricately destroying of my brain.
Yeah, but it's fun.
Yep.
So just a bunch of violence fun. I remember watching the fatality for Johnny Cage where he breaks through the rib cage and
some of it just makes
Johnny.
you. Some of it makes you cringe though, like the saw and the face. Anyway, yeah, some of it's really graphic. If you can't watch graphic things, I don't suggest playing Mortal Kombat, but...
Well, even the Mortal Kombat before that, I mean, not that this one isn't graphic, because this one took it to a whole other level.
But... Oh, yeah, it was just like, oh, remember, 5 out of 10? Well, we're doing 1,000. I'm like, what?
Yeah, that's pretty much what it was, because I remember the last one, I thought was gruesome when... and this is the Mortal Kombat, well, people call it Mortal Kombat 9, but it's just called Mortal Kombat, and it's the one that had Freddy Krueger as a downloadable character. And one of the fatalities was that you could put their opponent's face into the lava. And you put it in there, and then like their faces all melted off and everything. And it was like, that's pretty gruesome.
Now I wonder, where are we gonna go from here? Like, what is the next step? What is the next unifying thing in games?
And that's really hard to say because, I mean, unfortunately, a lot of these, I mean, of course, all these companies are in it for the money, but, look at Street Fighter V and how they messed that up, They, in one aspect, they did it for tournament reasons because they wanted to have it ready for tournament gameplay and whatnot, but then they ended up leaving out the standard consumer who just wants to play it at home. So playing a 2-player fighting game with somebody with like half the character, not even half, like maybe a third and less, the character roster that you had with Street Fighter 4, and it's like, well, I don't want to play this with anybody.
It's like, why? Apparently, and I just found this out today before you came over, I was just browsing on Facebook like a lazy millennial that I am, and I found that they were coming out with another kind of thing similar to Pokemon Go, except it's a first-person shooter with your phone.
Oh, wow.
And, like, you're outside, and you basically make teams. And there's, like, another team, and then there's your team, and you hunt them down, and you would hold the phone up and, like, tap to shoot at them. And I thought that was so cool, because you're running outside. It's like tag, but with your phone. And this is one way we, could fight this whole conspiracy about, there's so much technology, how can we use it to battle technology, to battle obesity, to battle the beatus.
Right.
And this is one way we've turned it around where we realize there's always going to be technology, and sadly we're going to probably grow connected to it. But how can we turn it around in our advantage? And this is one of the things. Instead of staying inside, make them go out.
Right, and they tried that once years ago. I can't remember the name. Baiten Kaitos? Maybe?
Something like that.
It was on the Game Boy Advance, and the game itself had a chip in it that you could only get energy if you went outside and picked up solar energy from the sun.
That's kind of neat.
And that's how you got your power.
Yeah, but then you could just stand outside.
Right,
and not have to do anything.
But it's that initial concept there that, that you could do that. So I mean, now you got Pokemon Go, and you got this game that you're talking about here, so it's a step in the right direction. And my only concern is, like, those advocates are going to come up and say, oh, well, this is promoting violence and blah, blah, blah.
Oh, there's always going to be people like that. I mean, there was people against Pokemon in the beginning where they're like, oh, it's like dog fighting.
Oh, people are still against Pokemon.
I'm like... they don't exist.
Right.
Like, I didn't pick up my cat and tell my cat to fight my dog just because I played Pokemon. I was like, go Witcher, go fight Blondie. Right. I choose you. Like, you scratch attack. Like, I wasn't, like, trying to fight my dogs against each other or try, dog fighting as I got older. I was just like, no, it's a game. I know the difference between a game and reality.
Well, and that's the funny thing. People are still making that argument. It's like, you made this argument 10 years ago. Why don't you ask those people who were children back when it came out, how much dogfighting they're actually doing?
And plus, you gotta, like, there was a case where a kid... I mean, there's some cases where that does come true, but that's also the teachings of parenting and child care in general, because there was one kid who was like 10 that played Grand Theft Auto, and I'm like, okay, one, he's kind of young to be playing that.
Right.
Number two, he probably needs to learn the difference between reality and just gameplay. And then I guess he, like, shot his parents and then went outside, shot a cop, and stole his car. Because that's what he learned from the game. But obviously his parents did not sit down with him and teach him the differences, like, hey, this is a game. Don't try to do these actions in real life. And then sometimes even if they do, the kid will always have their own action. Because they are humans, just like me and you. They will always have their own actions. So we can't say the one action of one kid is going to cover the whole population.
But they're going to try hard as hell to make it seem that way. Did the parents live?
No, they're dead.
They're dead, okay.
And he's in prison for life.
At 10?
Yeah.
I gotta find this story.
Like, I think he went to juvie, and then he got convicted for life because, like, he not only did he murder his parents, and I don't think he even they plead insanity or anything like that, which I was surprised they didn't, because I'd be like, obviously that kid's mentally unstable and did not have any idea what he was doing or the consequences of his actions.
Well, yeah, he's just a kid.
So I was like, I think they might have done a plea of some sort, but then he went to juvie, and then he got life or something. I don't know if he did another crime, but that's the story.
That's crazy. I'm gonna have to look that one up.
Yeah, it was really messed up. It was, like, on top 15, like...
Really?
Weirdest, like, murders or child murder stories.
And listen to that. I don't remember that.
There's a lot of weird ones I look up, though. So, I'm bored.
Well, the thing that gets me is that parents, like, okay, and I'm going again. I'm mentioning a lot of things from past podcasts, but I have not had the discussion with you. Parents are under the impression that to this day that games are for children. And it surprises me because some of these people are parents who are my age. And I'm just like, when I tell them, well, this is not really for children. I've had parents try to buy Grand Theft Auto for their children. Ugh. I had a 6-year-old try to buy Grand Theft Auto, and I told the grandmother, I was like, look, this is a mature-rated game. And I pointed out all the content that was listed on the back. I've never had a 6-year-old mug me so hard in my life. My grandmother was thanking me up and down and like, thank you for letting me know and this and that. Little kid was looking at me like I was the worst person in the world.
Well, yeah, because as a kid, all you're thinking is, oh, I can't wait to play this game. But in reality, they're not thinking of, I'm going to see some pretty grown-up things in this game that I'm not prepared for.
Right. Like I said before, my son, he'll see it, he'll go, oh, Dad, you have Grand Theft Auto? I'm like, yep, and you're not going to touch it.
Like, I was thinking, oh, maybe I'll let my niece play Until Dawn, and then I played more of it. I was like, actually, there's a lot more adult content I would rather her not see in this game than have her play it. They also won't let her play Sims, apparently, but then again, I can see it, but as a kid, I was able to play Sims. I mean, but then again, I did not play the PC version. I played the GameCube version. Right. So you didn't have access to as much content.
Well, yeah,
it was
because Nintendo
limited.
had its own rules and everything like that, so you kind of have that censorship. well, that's not the word I wanted. Not monetization. I can't even think of it. Regulated.
Yeah, it's kind of regulated. I mean, yeah, there was a couple things like as you know, you get a partner in the game, you could have relations in the game. Of course, it was all cubed and blurred out, but as a kid, I knew what that was. Like, obviously, I knew what I was doing because my parents explained that to me. But I was like, oh, well, I want a baby in the game. This is the only way I can make babies. So, life lesson.
Right. And, you know, then there are those people who, like, when it comes to the PC mods and everything like that, and they make, like, the new patches and everything, and then all of a sudden people go off their rocker because they think that that's what the company deliberately did. It's like, God, no, someone hacked our game. No, you guys are evil. You guys did this.
And see, that's where the division comes in games, is that people try to put the blame on something that either the company did, and sometimes the companies have done wrong. It's not like you can say they never do wrong. They do. And then there's a division between, like, players being trolled, online bullying, people causing suicide because of games. That's a division. And now we're looking more at the unity of everything, and I hope it gets pushed more towards unity. Of course, there's always going to be horrible stories.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, we have Pokemon Go, and this is actually bringing people physically together, and that's the kind of thing I want to see. Is like people actually physically coming together and meeting each other and just saying, "Hey, holy cow!" We're two completely different people who like the same thing.
I mean, eventually, and sadly, I don't want to put like really bad, I guess, ideas into anyone's head. Probably why I won't even say it, but there probably will be a negative story to Pokemon Go in the future.
They probably will.
That's gonna happen because we're humans, okay? And we do really, really ignorant things.
Well, yeah, there've already been two stories. The one about the girl who found a dead body.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if you saw that.
No.
I sent that link to you yesterday.
Well, that's actually more of a positive thing. If she literally found it and there was investigation of it, thank God she found it, number one.
Well, yeah, no, and it turned out that it was just an accidental... He accidentally drowned himself.
Oh, poor guy.
And then apparently another story, which I just heard this morning, apparently, I haven't had a chance to read it, was... a kid he ended up walking into a bad neighborhood in Chicago, and he ended up getting mugged for his iPhone and items that he had with him.
As I said, I live in the ghetto. That would probably be what happens to me.
Right.
Give me your phone, girl. I just want Pokemon. Like, that would happen to me.
I don't care. I want your phone.
So I don't know what this Pokemon is.
Exactly.
Or as the grown-ups used to say it, Pokemon. I hated that as a kid so much.
Pokemon.
Oh, I wanted to punch those teachers in the face.
But that's...
I get why they say it. It's not like as an adult now, it's like, oh, I understand. It was called Pokemonsters to begin with.
Yeah. Well, but even in Japan, because I saw the Japanese movie, the original first movie. I saw it in Japanese, and they actually refer to them as Pokemon, even though they're called Pocket Monsters.
Yeah.
So yeah, but there probably will come some negative stories out of this, but in the meantime,
let's enjoy the unity.
Right. Let's enjoy it because when are we going to see this kind of interaction?
Exactly.
Again.
And it's also bringing people with anxieties and introverted people out too, which I like because I'm kind of introverted, even though I don't sound like it. Yeah, I have all sorts of crazy things like many other people, but it actually brings out the better person in me and wants to actually go and talk to people, be like, hey, let's do this, let's go out and play it. Unlike, oh, I'm just gonna go home and not talk to anyone because I'm shy.
Yeah, with everything outside of the craziness that's gone on this week, you have the general stuff that comes along with gaming. Again, you're gonna have those people who are gonna have the negative. They're gonna find something negative about Pokemon Go. I'm sure people are making jokes, but I'm waiting for that news report to come out saying fatal car accident because of Pokemon Go. And then the congressmen are going to come in and say this, and then some point the feminists are going to come in and say it's sexist against women for some reason or another, you know, and then you're going to have the anti-feminists come in and, you know, argue why it isn't, and then it's going to turn into this horrible, irrelevant thing that shouldn't even become.
I mean, it's like yin and yang. Wherever there's a positive, there's always going to be a negative. Wherever there's unity, there's always going to be division. Mm-hmm. It's just something we have to adapt, and the one way we can adapt is just by trying, instead of defending ourselves, trying to understand that person's perspective.
Well, that would be the easiest thing to do. I mean, I try to do that, you know. It's like you get into a heated debate, you kind of, you know, as heated as I am when I try so hard to not really say too much. I say things to you because I know that you will, you know, you kind of give me a little bit of perspective when I tell you some things, but it's not like in the long run I'm going out and telling everybody, oh, well, this is this and this is that, because I'm heat of the moment. I kind of want to get it out, you know.
For example, like if there's a lot of teams in Pokemon Go, right? Like, oh, he's a Pokemon Red member. Right. I don't like Red members because they're angry, violent, blah blah blah. And I'm Pokemon Blue, blah blah blah, Obama. Like, I don't. And so it's when those things happen, especially when it happens to me. I'm like, okay, wait, back up. Before we have an argument, why do you feel this way? Is it something of your past? Is it something recent? I want to know why you feel this way, instead of, oh, this is the right answer. I don't care what you say, red team. I don't care.
Obama. Yeah. But a lot of people won't do that. That's the thing. Mm-hmm. Like, you know, and I just kind of went off babbling about that, you know, I have a tendency to babble. And I try to stop, because it's like, okay, well, I got to sit and think about this, and how do I really feel about this? I'm caught up in the heat of the moment, you know, and you know, and then I stop, I think about it, and it's like, okay, we got this perspective here, we've got that perspective here, and it makes it a little easier to understand where they're coming from. May still not agree with it, but I could at least understand it, you know. And I think a lot more people need to do that. Maybe those people, I mean, I don't know. Again, I don't play Pokemon Go, but, you know, maybe more people like that will come out, and you'll see that kind of attitude towards things. There's a girl that I've mentioned on this podcast a couple of times before. Her name is Kite Tales. And I really like her channel. She's starting to come out with more content now than before. And one thing she likes to do is she likes to get a good grip on what's going on, understand it before she expresses her opinion on it. You know, otherwise, you know, it's like, well, if I say it like this, I'm just going to sound like a fool. Yeah. You know, and she's very articulate and very precise on what she's trying to explain.
Exactly.
And excuse me, I would like to think that, you know, more people like that would be brought out. And, you know, if you have a game like this, and then you meet people, and then they're like, they have that kind of thinking process, you come across somebody who doesn't necessarily think that way, and they could kind of change their mind, and they don't have to change their mind, but at least give them this perspective.
It's more like that common ground of understanding. Like, I understand why you think that way, and I understand why I think that way, and I understand why we disagree. As long as everyone understands, I think that's where we should leave it. It's like, yeah, okay, you want to vote for Trump. Because obviously you lived in whatever situation. I lived in a different background, and this is why I want to vote for whoever. Right. Like, as long as we understand the differences, that's it. But we shouldn't hate each other for it. And that's why I think this game will, at least games like this will come back. Right. And help us, because it's like, oh, many people with different backgrounds are going to come together. And I love it when media platforms like people on YouTube, Geekery Collective, a bunch of other YouTube groups get people together in different common grounds like games or just nerd stuff or anything else like makeup channels. When they, you know, merge together, it puts all those differences behind to gain an understanding, even if it's just about makeup or Pokemon.
Right, exactly. By the way, she was just using an example. I'm not voting for Trump.
Exactly. Yeah. No, he's not.
Yeah. No, I've expressed my dislike for him before on this podcast, but that's besides the point.
Differences.
No, and I totally get what you mean. I mean, then you know, that's what cons are there for. You know, to unite people like that. I just think that this is another medium of doing it without actually having to go out and not necessarily spend money. I can't say you don't spend money.
It separates the hate. That's why I like it. Separates the hate.
Exactly. And I know we're kind of going on and kind of repeating ourselves about this, but it really was amazing thing to see amongst all the craziness, because I've not seen people do that, and then like seeing all these people just wanting to get together and just wanting to do this, I think it's a great thing.
Like, especially at work, because especially if we had like overtime right now, I know people would be exhausted, they'd be cranky, they'd just be like, intolerable. But this game, like, for once, I saw everyone from both sides, from everywhere, talking about just one thing, and laughing, and telling jokes, and it was amazing. It was the first time I heard a bunch of people get together and talk about it.
Yeah, and that's what you gotta know about our workplace is that we work in a very different department than these other people. We work in a digital department, they work in a print department, and so we don't normally see the print people come around. And we've seen a lot more of them this week than we have since we started working there.
God, yeah.
People I didn't even know work there.
It's like, you work here? Yeah, I do. Wanna play Pokemon Go? Yeah, I do.
Exactly. So, I think that's a good thing, and I kind of hope to see more of that. I kind of hope to see more of people just getting together and discussing these things and sharing the hobby. I'd like to see them bring back more arcades. Tappers is a good start.
Oh yeah.
Because that was another form of it. Even though it wasn't Pokemon Go. This GameWorks place. Still with all this old arcade games, it doesn't work anymore. Do something better with it. Make these game nights.
I would love to get drunk and just play arcade games all night. Like, if there was a place I could do that, I'd probably be there more and probably blow all my money, even though I don't have money right now. So I feel like I'm poor. Why? Because I played video games and I had a beer. That's why I'm broke.
But think about it. It's a way. It's another way to have people gather at a place. Like have your little section there where, hey, we're going to be doing this Pokemon thing at the arcade. And then they go to the arcade, they start playing. Because you don't see enough of that in general. I mean, yeah, it's Pokemon Go, but I mean, in context, you could do this with anything.
Exactly. Make it popular enough. You could do it with any other application or game theory or game concept.
So, I don't know. That's just my thought on everything. There wasn't a lot that went on in the news this week because of all the other events going on. So, I thought maybe we could just talk about that and see what you guys think about this idea and what you think of Pokemon Go.
Yeah, it's very heartwarming right now. I mean, it's heartwarming to see people like this do things together on a world that's so separated by media. So it's good to see people communicating. Or if you're listening to this podcast, you're probably going to be like, oh, this is something I want to do. It sounds dandy.
Right. And we're not being paid by Nintendo to promote this, by the way.
I would like to.
Yeah.
Hint, hint, Nintendo.
Yeah, Nintendo, if you're listening,
throw a Pikachu my way.
Couple of Pikachus. Throw a couple of 100 here. I can use some Raichus, too. But yeah, I don't really have a lot to cover this week just because of the events and everything, but I at least wanted to go ahead and discuss this, and I apologize if it sounds redundant or whatnot, but just to get the message across, what kind of games do you think would bring people together? Not MMOs, I'm not trying to talk about online games, I'm talking about physically together. I mean, of course, we're talking about video games, we're not talking about sports games or whatnot, because of course people are going to go get together for that, but this is a medium that's very popular, right now, and it's what our not our generation, because I'm 2 generations behind now, but or 1 or 2 generations behind.
Why are you, Generation X?
Yeah. Whatever. No, yeah, Generation X.
Saying you guys have a cooler name.
Yeah, millennial. Who came up with that? But anyway, so that's more or less it. What do you think? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you have any questions? Do you have any ideas for new topics? Let us know. You can keep the conversation going on this form of media.
This platform, whatever platform.
Yeah,
online
exactly.
Platform. Share, like, subscribe.
On Facebook, SoundCloud, Twitter. YouTube, whatever you're listening to this on, or you can email us crossplatformshow@gmail.com. I apologize for anybody who last week I said crossplat show. That is not the name. It's wow, I can't talk today. crossplatform@gmail.com. And so I would like to thank my guest, Sarah.
Yay! I was here again. It was amazing.
And next week we will have a different guest. And if you have any other comments, concerns, questions, let us know.
Keep listening, keep gaming, and keep being you.